Welcome to the Undisputed Podcast. I'm your host, Joy Taylor. We've got a packed show today. Skip, Shannon, let's get to it.
Welcome to Undisputed, live from Los Angeles. I'm Ebony K. Williams here with Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharpe. Good morning, fellas. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming out.
Oh, man, it's nice to be on the West Coast with you.
Yeah. How you doing?
So, Ebony, you have a law degree, you've served as a public defender, and nobody needs public defending more than this man and his opinions. So please feel free to try to help him or save him today because he needs lots of help.
I will do my best.
All I'm going to say is, Ebony, if you got to watch him, he's slick like an eel. Just watch him.
I think y'all both give as good as y'all take, man.
He's always
Like an
up to something.
Electric eel,
Yeah,
right?
okay.
Yeah.
How you doing? You enjoy your time off?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just been getting ready for you.
Say likewise.
You guys both look fantastic.
Thank you.
Thank you. So Ice Cube and Hall of Famer Gary Payton are both going to be in studio with us later today, but we're going to start with LeBron James. Now, LeBron was swept by the Warriors a little over a week ago. Now he's 3-6 in the finals, so all eyes are on where he'll play next. Now, his former teammate and Hall of Famer, Shaquille O'Neal, said LeBron's objective should not be chasing championships. Shaq said, quote, LeBron's book is already set. He's probably trying to get 4, 5, or 6 rings, but it doesn't matter. He's a legend, so he's set. So I got to ask you, Shannon, do you agree with what Shaq is saying here? Should Bron not be chasing rings?
I strenuously disagree with Shaquille O'Neal. You know Shaq. I know Shaq very well. But Shaq was playing on a different set of metrics than what LeBron is. Skip, at that point in time in Shaq's career, there was no way he was going to be able to crack the top 3 big men. If you just say big men, Wilt, Kareem, Russell. However you want to stack them. Kareem had 6 MVPs, 6 finals. Russell had 11 and 5. Wilt had 4 and 2. So by any metric, there was nothing he was going to be able to do to change the narrative.
Except for eye test. What did your eye test tell you?
He was dominant.
Yes, thank you.
He was dominant. Now, was his move as dominant as the sky hook? I don't know if there's ever been a move more dominant than that. 38,000 points says no.
I hear you, but just quick point, I've never seen a more dominant offensive force than Shaquille O'Neal. It wasn't pretty to watch, but go ahead.
Skip, I feel people should allow other people to set their own agenda. Skip, they say you should accept no one's definition of your life. Well, let me take it a different step. Let me take it a step further. An athlete should accept no one's definition of his career. Because at this juncture of his career, what was Shaquille O'Neal, Skip? He was a complimentary player. His numbers had decreased. Once he got to Miami in year 13, he was 23-10 with 73 games, playing 34 minutes. Then that dropped to 20-9 in 59 games, playing 31 minutes. That dropped all the way down in year 15 to 17-7, playing 40 games. You see why the narrative would not change on Shaq? What did they know, Skip? Shaq was not going to work hard in the offseason. Shaq was not going to put the time in. So everybody wanted to remember Shaq from Orlando to his final year in Miami. So that's what they wanted to remember because they knew as he was aging, he wasn't going to be the same player. LeBron James, since he's been back in Cleveland, 25-3, 25-3, 26-5, and now last year he was basically 28-9-9, playing all 82 ball games.
For the first time in his career.
For the first time in his career, but there's nothing complimentary about him. He is the centerpiece. So for Shaq to say, well, he shouldn't be chasing rings, that's all it's about now, Skip. He's the youngest to 10,000, youngest to 15, 20, 25, 30. So he has all this. He's the youngest to do this. What else is there for LeBron than to chase rings? The stats are going to come. LeBron James is in the business of winning titles because he's made that his legacy. He's accomplished. He has the MVPs. He has all those accolades. How many times he's been Eastern Conference Player of the Year a week? How many times he's been to the All-Star game? How many All-Star MVPs does he have, Skip? Now it's all about collecting hardware. And he's trying to find this perfect scenario. Where can I go and who can I bring along with me? Because I got to beat that team. There's a team out there by the Bay, Skip. They've gone the 4th straight finals. They've won 3. I've been to 8 straight, and 3 of my losses have come at their hands. I need to find a way. In the last 2, I've only been able to take 1 game off of them. So, Skip, for LeBron James, rings is all it's about. And I strenuously disagree with Shaq because they're in two different parallels. Shaq, everybody wanted to remember that block of time, basically, from when he came into the NBA with Orlando in his last year with the Lakers.
Yep.
But after that point in time, Skip, his career started decline. The numbers, the level of play, and the minutes. So this is a whole different variable for Shaquille O'Neal. So I strenuously disagree with your take.
I got you. And I do agree with your final point. Those last 3 years, that was age 36 in Phoenix and then 37 in Cleveland, which was LeBron's last time around in Cleveland before he went to Miami, and then age 38 in Boston. Shaquille O'Neal was just an eyesore. He was a shell of himself. He was a very sad, out-of-shape sight, just clinging, hanging on, and if you want to call that chasing rings, I think he was just sort of chasing the end of his career.
Right. He's chasing a pay. Skip, the teams he was going, you thought Phoenix, you thought Cleveland, you thought Boston at that point in time, Skip, was going to go, come on, for real,
Nope.
Shaq?
Nope, not for real. So I do agree with the big picture of Shaq's point. LeBron's career, his legacy, has been forged in the eyes of those billions of blind witnesses out there led by Shannon Sharpe across from me because you've already decided he's the greatest ever, right? You have already told me, for the record, that he's better than Michael Jeffrey Jordan.
Yes.
And a lot of people agree with you out there, again, blind witnesses who have no perspective at all on who Michael Jordan was or what LeBron really is. So that can't be changed, right? That's forged. That's in concrete.
But that's also on the flip side. There's also those blind witnesses that are in Michael Jordan's corner. No matter what LeBron does, he can go to 3 more finals and win them all and be all of a sudden he's 6-6. With 12 appearances, 10 straight. And some will say, well, Michael Jordan was 6-0. So it works both ways, Skip Bayless. Don't pretend just because LeBron, he has his fans, they're devout in their praise. There are some just as devout in praise of Michael Jeffrey
some
Jordan.
are objective and some are not.
Well,
so.
when I find that some that are objective about Michael Jordan, can you let me know who he is?
Yeah. Well, some just know the real truth. So the point is that what Jason Terry said a couple of weeks back, sitting right there on our show, had a ring of truth. He was saying that he thinks LeBron's going to retire. Do I believe he's going to retire? I don't. But the more I thought about what he said, there's a case to be made that LeBron can't really improve that much on what he's already done, because I can also argue with you he can only hurt his legacy as he tries to chase rings, right? If he stays in the East, let's say he gets back to his 9th and 10th straight finals. What if he loses those to fall to 3 and 8? That would tie Jerry West for the most finals losses ever. Jerry West was 1 and 8. Elgin Baylor, one of his teammates, was 0 and 7. Okay, but what if LeBron fell to 3 and 8 in the finals? Wouldn't that damage his legacy?
Yeah, but we're going to talk about some topics a little later in the show.
Okay,
Skip,
all right.
so.
But I'm just saying, if you stay East, that's one problem. Now, if you do go to the West, the advantage in the West, let's just do the Lakers, hypothetically. The advantage is you're going to run into Golden State probably in the conference finals.
Yes.
And if you lose the conference finals, at least you don't have another blight on your finals legacy, right? You're not going to lose in the finals. You just lost in the East, the Western Conference Finals, right?
Correct.
Okay, so I could argue that would actually be a plus. But the difference in Shaq's legacy, which was forged in Los Angeles with Kobe Bryant, where they won 3 in a row together. So they got upset by Detroit. But nobody held that against Shaq because Shaq and Kobe were feuding. They both wanted out. Somebody was going to have to go. And was it an all-time great upset? Yeah, it was. Did they not take Detroit seriously enough? Nope, they did not. Is that held against Shaq in his all-time resume? Not really. Do people say, how dare you, Shaquille O'Neal, lose to that team, right?
Well, I think, but it also, while we don't hold that against Shaq and Kobe because they were bickering, also we might need to heap praise on LeBron because behind the scenes, although we didn't know it, Kyrie Irving was seething, wanting to get up out of there also. So for him to bite his tongue and not call an uproar or let that affect the play on the court. So maybe LeBron should get some credit for that, for keeping that thing mellow until it finally surfaced and Kyrie ended up being traded.
Okay. So to me, in all objectivity from this side of the table, it appears that LeBron also has some tarnish to remove from his legacy that Shaq did not, because LeBron did suffer the meltdown in that last go-round, the first time around in Cleveland against Boston, which his owner accused him of quitting in that semifinal loss to the Celtics in the Eastern Conference. And then he melted down against the Dallas Mavericks, his first finals with the Miami Heat, 2011.
But did he melt down? The owner said, but the owner have said some things, Skip.
Okay, that's against Boston.
Right.
You know?
But did he melt down? You look at his numbers. His number says, no, he did not melt down.
I thought he melted down in 4, 5, and 6 of that series. I couldn't recognize him. And again, his camp put out all kinds of excuses about what was going on in the locker room.
Well, in Game 6, he had 27, 19, and 10. I sure wish he'd melt down like that every game.
Okay, but those are the kind of games, if you watch, you say, where are you when it counts? In the fourth quarter, you're unplugged, you're disengaged, you're not LeBron James. And then he clearly, in 4, 5, and 6, melted down in the NBA Finals, the first go-around with the Heat.
I'll give you that.
Okay, and then this past Finals, I'm sorry, but he really melted down after regulation ahead of overtime of Game 1, and you can make a strong case that he quit on his team because he just threw in the psychological towel and said, I don't think I'm even going to shoot for the first 2.5 minutes of overtime, during which they fell behind by 7 points. Then he took 4 half-hearted shots, 0 for 4, and effectively the finals ended in Game 1 because it was clear to his team that he just didn't think he was good enough to beat Golden State by himself, quote unquote, and that was the end of those finals. And those are blights, those are tarnishes on a resume. So you can also argue that Shaq didn't have to chase to undo things.
Because Shaq wasn't going to be able to catch Kareem. He wasn't going to be able to catch Russell's 11. He wasn't going to get 3 more MVPs to catch Wilt in that aspect. But here's the thing. Shaq did get swept in the finals. The Houston Rockets swept Shaquille O'Neal.
Okay, but he was 22. Yeah?
Did it happen?
22 when he was with the Magic.
Yeah, but he got swept.
It happened.
Skip.
Nobody even thinks about it. Nobody remembers it.
Exactly.
Okay.
But I do, because you know why? I'm a historian, and we're talking about this because why did he go to L.A.? He went to L.A. because he wanted Hollywood, but he also felt that Jerry West could put more talent around him than Pat Williams could in Orlando.
No,
Let's be absolutely true. So he started chasing rings long, long before. The thing is, LeBron James has always been on this quest, and he's staying on this quest. Skip, I get it. Look, what Shaq is looking at, he's saying, look at my career. But Skip, nobody thinks LeBron James is slowing down. People knew Shaq was going to be Shaq. If he didn't train hard in his 20s, what in the hell made you think he was going to train hard, eat right in his mid-30s, Skip? No one. They said, Shaq, this is who you are. From 92 to, I think his last year was 03, 04 in L.A.?
I believe so, yep.
So those 12 years
Yep.
that you had right there, Shaq, that's what we're going to choose to remember you by. And Skip, that's fine and good, because this same thing happens with Michael Jordan. We forget that he played with the Wizards because we don't want to see when our heroes, Skip, we don't want to remember them like that.
Okay, but wait a second. Michael Jordan was out of basketball for 3 whole years after the Chicago run.
Stayed.
3 years.
He should have stayed.
Okay, so he came back at 39 and 40. Does anybody count that? I don't, and you shouldn't.
Skip, was he? So let me ask you. So was that a different guy, or was that Michael Jordan?
That was a different guy.
No, it was Michael Jordan. He was Michael Jordan. He went to did he go to the All-Star game? I think he made the All-Star game too, didn't he, Skip?
He averaged 20 and 6. I can't remember.
Okay. So, but that's what I'm saying, Skip. Our heroes, we want to remember them, the shot. That's how we want to remember him. And we would have, but insatiable ego and appetite to still hear that adulation brought him back. So I remember him getting cooked. I remember Kobe hanging 55 on him. You remember that too, Skip. That happened.
What I remember is that this year I wanted to see LeBron James play a little bit of defense, and he quit playing defense at the expense of playing better offense. So at age 33, but in his 15th year, LeBron just said, I can't defend anymore. I can't waste my energy on defense.
It goes from an argument, should LeBron chase more rings, to you trying to get a slight in.
No, I'm not. It's not a slight. It's from this point forward, whatever you're chasing rings, you're chasing only on offense. You're not playing defense anymore. So it's not the same LeBron who was chasing rings when he went to Miami.
Player after player come out here and say, Michael Jordan did not have the offensive workload as far as rebounding.
I haven't heard anybody say that except you. Okay. You're the only one. I don't know anybody who said
guess
that.
What? Gary Payton will be out here shortly.
Okay,
We'll see what he has to say.
Let's do C, because I showed you the stats. 6 times in the postseason, Michael Jordan led the whole playoffs in usage rate, ball in hand.
Okay,
Only once has LeBron ever led in usage rate.
How many times, how many double-digit assist games or double-digit rebounds games does Michael Jordan have?
He scored.
That's my point.
He won. He did what was required to win, and he also played hellacious defense because it's required to win the game.
We've seen LeBron, when needed to score, go get 8 40-point games in the playoffs, something Michael never, ever did. As proficient as he was as putting the ball in the basket.
Michael Jordan went 6-0 with 6 finals MVPs. What more do you want?
See, there you go.
No, but it's just what is required to win the series, the championship, the game, whatever. Whatever is required, he just did it.
In order for LeBron James' teams to win games, he must rebound, assist, and score the basketball, where Michael Jordan was mainly a scorer of the basketball. He also played along 2 all defensive players in Dennis Rodman and Scottie Pippen who rebounded, because, you know, there was a couple of times in those series, when he winning the finals, he was 3rd on his team in assists and 4th in rebounding. When has LeBron James ever been 3rd in assists on his own team? Never.
So, at age 33, LeBron finished 309th in individual defensive win shares in the regular season this year. And at age 34, a whole year older than LeBron, Michael Jordan, at age 34, was first team all-defense, all-NBA.
If you don't mind, if you don't mind me asking, as a year older, who had more miles on their legs, LeBron James or Michael Jordan?
I don't know. Michael played a lot of basketball at Carolina. That didn't
It's a great
count.
school, by the way.
Thank you.
Fine institution.
I love the Tar Heels. Tar Heels, that's my team.
Tar Heels all life.
Well,
Hold on.
It's not your team.
That is my team.
You have been expelled from Carolina fandom.
Whoa.
You have been expelled after all the shots you've taken at Michael Jordan.
Okay.
You're out.
Hold on.
Out.
Forfeit.
So you feel comfortable saying that at age 34, Michael Jordan had more minutes on his legs than LeBron James, who's gone to 8 straight finals? Because you do remember Michael Jordan took a year and a half off.
He did.
Okay, so I feel comfortable in saying no, he does not. When you factor in 3, also Olympics.
Okay, but you're the one who has admitted to me many times, sitting in that same chair you're sitting in right now, that no, LeBron doesn't play defense anymore. You've said that.
He doesn't play defense with the same tenacity. He cannot. No man in the history of the game has been asked to do what he had to do offensively, carry that workload. I'll give you another guy that could also assist, rebound, and score the basketball. Magic Johnson. Did he sit in the chair for 48 minutes? Of course not.
But we're talking about Jordan versus LeBron, right?
No, we weren't. We were talking about Shaq and should LeBron ring chase.
Sure. Actually, and I'm glad you circles back to that, because I have a question for both you, Shannon, and Skip. You mentioned Shaq wanting more rings and wanting Hollywood, right? How much of the legacy of LeBron James at this point, if you take the argument that Skip made earlier, that LeBron's basketball legacy in many folks' minds is cemented, right? He's one of the best of all time. That's undisputed.
Right.
How much of this is about the other legacy that LeBron might be concerned about at this point, which is his impact on Hollywood and producing and that kind of aspect as well, that Los Angeles becomes a very attractive place, not just for a potential championship ring, but for the ability to operate in that space?
I'm sure that plays into it also, Skip, because he's executive produced a lot of shows, and he wants that on his resume. But while you and I might be dug in one place or another, I don't believe that's in LeBron James's mind.
Yep.
He believes he still can accomplish more and change the narrative in his own mind. Whether or not you or I agree, you might be set in your place over here. I might be set in my place over there. There might be a few folks that's on the fence that can say, okay, if he go to two more straight finals, that's 10 straight. He wins them both. That's 5 and 6. Okay, boom, boom, boom. I feel good now. But in his mind, the way he's playing, Skip, why would he not? I can see, Skip, if he was averaging 15 points, find somewhere where you're happy and just move on. Skip, the dude put in career-high numbers in assists and rebounds and was averaging almost 28 points a game. Why would he not go to a situation that's going to put him in the best situation to win titles, especially if that guy with the braids and San Antonio gets up out of there and goes to L.A. or he moves somewhere and then Paul George can tag along. Now you're formidable for anybody, anywhere.
I do, to your question, think that LeBron should semi-retire and then retire in Los Angeles. He belongs in Hollywood ultimately. And maybe it's a semi-retirement type of a move. I told you last week that the only move that would make this fly would be if he could talk Kevin Durant into joining him with the Lakers. I'm not sure about Paul George, and I'm definitely not sure about Kawhi. We're going to talk about that.
Oh, Kawhi, I like Kawhi.
Yeah, you better.
I
like
love
Kawhi.
him.
Yeah.
I love him. Oh, sure enough. The claw.
The guy who quit on
He
the
quit.
Spurs,
Okay.
and you have to now question
That's what got him
about
back.
what's he made of.
That's what got-
Is
that's
he
what-
made of the right stuff?
Keep on talking.
Yeah.
Because guess what? He was hearing all that stuff because Greg Popovich made it seem like he quit.
Yeah.
Tony Parker and some of his teammates made it seem
They
like he
didn't
quit.
make it seem like he just flat out did quit, and we're about to
We're going to
discuss
see
that.
moving forward how they look
Yeah.
without him.
Yeah, he'd love to
said, I
play
think
in
he-
LeBron's shadow.
No, whoa, don't do that, Skip. Don't do that, Skip, baby. I'm not going to let you defame that man up here.
Well,
with 2 defensive player of the
just
year and
hang
a
on.
five.
Just hang on.
I'm not going to let you defame him,
Yeah,
Skip
we'll
Bayless.
see.
Hanging on.
He deserves better.
Hanging on. Speaking of hanging on, is Tom Brady hanging on, or is he getting close to calling it
Basically.
quits? We're going to discuss that up next on Undisputed.
Tom should stop chasing rings.
No mercy.
Tom Brady's coming off of an MVP season, that's right. But he turns 41 years old in August. So Brady sat down with Oprah recently to talk about the longevity of his career. Take a listen.
I think about it more now than I used to.
Yeah.
I think now I think that I'm seeing that there's definitely an end coming sooner rather than later.
What does that end look like? Is that 43? Is it 45? Is it?
As long as I'm still loving it.
As long as you're loving it, you're going to do it.
Yes, so, as long as I'm loving the training and the preparation and willing to make the commitment. But it's also, I think what I've alluded to a lot in the docuseries was there's other things happening in my life too. You know, I do have kids that I love.
How adorable.
And I don't want to be a dad that's not there driving my kids to their games. And, I think kids, my kids have brought a great perspective in my life, because kids just want the attention. You better be there and be available to them.
Okay, Shannon Sharpe, he won't put a number on it, but he's talking about family and his children. What exactly is Tom Brady telling us right there?
I've never heard a guy speak so much in the last month and a half, maybe 2 months, Skip, and say absolutely nothing. He said nothing. He said absolutely nothing. Oh, I think about it more now than I normally do. Well, how long are you going to play? Well, as long as I'm still loving it, I still love to compete, I still love watching all this, so I'm just going to go on. It seems to me, Skip, he's more hell-bent on proving Coach Belichick. You're not going to run me off than he does playing. He says, well, I do have, there are other things that are important. I do have kids, and I don't want to be one of those dads that's not driving his kids to practice. Tom, you're already that dad. Unless is Giselle expecting and we don't know about? Maybe he's about to have some more kids, and he'll be able to drive those to practice. Skip, he's already missing soccer practice. He's already missing recitals. Giselle, his wife, is already driving the kids to school. What in the hell is Tom talking about he doesn't want to miss? Do you understand, to be that level of great, to be that level of player, what you have to miss and how selfish you must be, and the type of partner that it takes to understand that in all your selfishness, they're taking on the role of mom and dad? Does he understand that, Skip?
I think he does.
So don't give me that. Don't tell me I don't want to be the guy that's not driving my kids to practice, because you're already that guy. Because guess what? When you wake up and go to work, the kids are not on their way. The kids haven't even gotten up yet. So while you're when you're at work in that meeting room and you're hitting that clicker, so either your wife or someone that's the help, they're getting the kids ready to go to school. They're driving them to school. Skip Bayless, he has said absolutely nothing. 43, Oprah asks him 43, 44. First of all, you notice, Ebony, he doing a lot more talking now. On TV 12 and them old books, he coming out with something. He doing a lot.
We're seeing more Tom Brady
Yeah,
now.
he all of a sudden he wants to open up and give us a glimpse on the inside of what old Tom Brady's like. You ain't fooling old Shay Sharpe. I know what you're up to.
Yeah, but he doesn't just do a little Fox interview or an ESPN interview.
No,
He does Oprah.
Yeah.
He's big.
Yeah.
Huh? He's Tom Brady.
No, what he's trying to do is trying to reach a different demo, because a lot of the people that watch Oprah aren't necessarily football fans. Skip, come on now. Oh, you can't. I'm too big. Hey, I'm too big of a cat to be played with like a cat. You can't fool old Say Sharpe. So I know what he up to. Okay. But he said nothing, Skip. I believe he's more hell-bent on trying to prove Coach Belichick, you're not going to run me off. I'm going to play as long as I want to. So if you think you're going to run me off by trying to keep Jimmy, Jimmy's gone. There is no threat here for the very foreseeable future. And I got the one guy in my corner, you don't. The guy that signs your check and my check likes me more than he likes you. So I ain't going nowhere.
Well, I agree. In the grand scheme of things, he said virtually nothing. But in Tom Brady speak, he said a lot because he used to say absolutely nothing, and now he's starting to turn up the heat on Belichick. Just little by little, just dropping hint here, hint there, hint here about, well, maybe it'll be sooner than later that I will retire because clearly it became clear to him at midseason last year that Coach Belichick had cut bait with Tom Brady, wanted to run him off prematurely in Brady's eyes in favor of Jimmy Garoppolo going forward this coming football season.
That sooner was now.
That was now. And so battle lines were drawn, and Belichick lost that battle. Now, I don't know if he's going to lose the war ultimately, but Tom Brady's ready to go to war by dropping hints. Well, maybe I'll do this, maybe I won't, just to make them sweat a little bit, make Mr. Kraft sweat a little bit about what is his plan? Because remember, a year ago, he was just flat out saying 45.
45,
I'm going to play till 45. Nah, I don't know. Could be this. Could be that.
Sooner than later. You know, hey, my kids are getting on up there.
And what's Tom Brady proving, fellas? I want to ask you both. Is this about rings? He's got 5 Super Bowls. What does a 6th Super Bowl do for him, if anything?
He said either you believe he's the greatest or you don't.
I liked what he said about when he was asked, do you like being called the greatest? And he said, no, because I'm still doing it. I'm uncomfortable with that. And I'm going to read a quick snatch of that quote that kept going, which is your worst nightmare. But he said, I still feel like there's still more to be accomplished. I still feel like I can be better, be a percentage better. I still think I want to go out there and compete and play with a bunch of 22-year-olds. It's still a lot of fun. Well, that's the Brady I know and love, and I think at heart of hearts, that's still Tom Brady. He still is having fun playing football. At one point, at age 35, you weren't having fun playing football anymore.
I have fun playing football. I have fun in meetings.
Well, that's what I'm saying, but the whole process of what was required to prepare for the football and prepare your body, which was starting to betray you because you played a different position than he plays, and he's able to get away with some things you were not able to get away with physically.
But here's the thing, though, Skip. Him getting another ring, how does he get those 3 losses off his resume? Because we're talking about LeBron James and his legacy already being cemented because of those 6 losses. So how does Tom Brady undo? So if he goes 6, so that's 6-3, does that change anything? Because Joe is undefeated. You see, people don't use the same, and I'm going to go back to you. They don't use the same argument when people say Tom Brady is the GOAT because he has 5. Nobody says, well, Joe's better because he has 4. No, sometimes I do it to you just to make my point because you quick to holler Michael Jordan is undefeated. Well, if Michael Jordan is the GOAT because he's undefeated in finals, Tom Brady therefore cannot be the GOAT because he's been defeated.
Well, let me be quick to point out that Eli Manning flat out stole the first Eli Brady Super Bowl, just stole it from him with the luckiest, according to Eli Manning, he agreed with me, luckiest pass in Super Bowl history, stole that one from the 07 Patriots. And then last year, all Tom Brady did at age 40 was win the MVP and then throw for a playoff record 505 yards. No one's ever thrown for 505 yards in any playoff game in the history of the league, and he did it in the Super Bowl.
And when he came to my restaurant, you know I got a restaurant, all I sell is wins and L's. And I had the champagne, the Ace of Spades waiting for him. That big old playoff performance that he put up, he was still had the best seat in the house, drinking champagne with an L.
Okay.
Skip Bayless, but also
wait a second. Tom Brady would never come to your restaurant to begin with. He would not. But Bill Belichick came knocking on the back door. Would you let me in?
Don't do that, Skip.
And you said, Coach, your defense just gave up to the backup quarterback of the Philadelphia Eagles, Nick Foles, 41 points because you wouldn't play your best defensive back for reasons unknown, Malcolm Butler.
He said, well, Shannon, what about the year before my defense shut him out for the last 23 minutes of the game in overtime? He said, well, Shannon, what about in the AFC Championship game when I gave up 3 points in the last 25, 30 minutes of the ball game? What was Tom doing then? Okay, but Skip, how about this? I put it to you like this. I think also Tom doing some of the things that he's been doing, not no TAs. Skip, it's one thing to say, you know what, I'm going to stay away. But he didn't stay away quietly. He stayed away publicly. He's on the back of a camel in Qatar. He's throwing a football on a yacht in Monaco. So basically he's saying, okay, Ann, I'm going to play as long as I want to.
I agree.
In the process of me playing long as I want to, your way, I no longer endorse.
That is correct.
I'm going to do it the TB12 method way.
Yep. So the key interview wasn't the Oprah interview, but it was the one he gave to Jim Gray back on April 30th. Remember, right here in Santa Monica, not far from where we sit right now. And that was to Jim Gray, probably the only interviewer he really trusts because they do a weekly hit on, I think, Westwood One Radio during the football season, remember, on the pregame show. And Jim Gray asked him, just to reiterate, to remind people, do you feel appreciated by the Patriots? And do you think you get the appropriate gratitude from the organization? And Tom said, I plead the fifth. Was that not the strongest thing he's ever said?
Yeah, of course.
And then Jim Gray asked him in conclusion, are you happy? And Tom said, I have my moments. You have your moments? You're the reigning MVP and you have your moments of happiness?
I didn't really have these moments, Skip, as long as I knew I was the de facto guy. And I knew there was not a guy in the wing waiting to replace me. And a head coach that was so willing that he was ready to jettison me, even though I had won the MVP. But Skip, let me say this. Tom Brady did mention in his piece how driving his kids to school. And I don't want to say Tom Brady does not care about, because I believe he does care about his kids. I believe he does want to drive them to school. That's nothing new. But my point is that Giselle or someone else is already doing that. So you feel very, very comfortable in that side of it.
Well, sure. So my upshot is, I still think he's going to play till he's 45.
I give him 2 years max.
Well, you keep going up a year. You keep going up a year.
I said 3 last year.
You did not.
3. Well, once he traded Jimmy Garoppolo, then all bets was off.
Oh.
So I give him 20 years. He getting 20 in Coach Belichick. But, well, we just see how this thing plays out. Because, lose a couple of games, and now some more stuff going to start coming out. Somebody's going to have to go, Skip Bayless. Eventually, it's going to have to be a decision. You got to make a choice.
Who will that be? Mr. Kraft.
Coach Belichick said, I ain't going nowhere.
Well, he'll say that, but who would you go with right now? What if you had to pick one of the other?
Coach Belichick. Okay, Tom, thank you. I really appreciate all the service that you provided for us.
So you would give up 3 more shots at winning Super Bowls with a potential MVP?
That guy
in favor of that coach who didn't play Malcolm Butler for 1 snap in the Super Bowl?
That coach,
really?
He picked Tom Brady.
Oh.
Tom Brady ain't picked
I'm not sure he picked him.
He picked him. And anyway, all those guys that's come and gone, they've won without him. So I know what he can do. He can find me some more players. I trust him to do all the grocery shopping. Yep.
You go find a quarterback like that
He can find him. He had one in Jimmy G. He had him in Jimmy G.
So you think Jimmy G's going to be as good as Tom Brady?
He don't need to be as good. Coach Belichick said, I just need him to win one to show y'all.
Yeah.
Competing legacies? Is that what I hear y'all talking about?
I'm not. He is.
No, well, this is what this boils down to, Skip Bayless. You know this. This is always what it's been about. It's not good enough to say we right. It's always got to be Batman and Robin. Somebody's got to play second fiddle. And Tom Brady says, I got 5 rings, it's me. Coach Belichick says, I got 5 rings, it's me. Somebody needs 51% of the credit.
Right.
It's not good to give it 50-50. This is not a relationship
So
like
you give it a little 51 to Belichick?
No, I'm getting more than that. I'm getting about 75.
Oh, high. Okay.
75. He picked all the players.
That is so absurd.
He picked all the players. He picks all the players.
That's the most absurd thing you've ever said.
Who picks all the players?
Oh, please.
If I got a number
What's
one,
the most important position in all of sports?
and who picked him?
Huh?
Who picked him?
Who plays it?
He picked him in the 6th round. So if he'd have thought, oh, this is Tom Brady, I'm going to win Super Bowls with this guy, wouldn't he have picked him in the 2nd round or the 3rd round?
No, because they had Drew Bledsoe.
Oh,
They
so
had
I'll
Drew.
wait. I know he'll be sitting there in the 6th round, and I'll take him there, and he'll win a bunch of Super Bowls.
Because all they did, they saw that video at the combine.
Yeah.
They saw that body. They saw that he had a dad body at 21. They saw him run that 40 skip. They're like, ain't nobody touching him before the 6th round.
You ever seen anyone throw a prettier football than this guy?
He wasn't throwing like that back then. He's throwing the ball. He throws the ball better. Skip, I'm giving it. Why would you let me give him some credit? I'm giving him some credit.
You've been trying to retire him for 3 years.
No. Coach Belichick had him out the door this year.
He did.
Well, the more they change, the more they stay the same.
No mercy.
ESPN, they reports that Kawhi Leonard wants out of San Antonio, and he'd like to go to Los Angeles, preferably with the Lakers. Kawhi is reportedly frustrated with how the Spurs organization handled his quad injury that allowed him to only play in 9 games last season. Now, he's eligible for a 5-year extension this summer on his contract worth more than $200 million. But he could opt out of that extension and become a free agent next summer. NBA reporter Chris Sheridan says that there's a, quote, 0% chance that Greg Popovich will trade him to the Lakers or any other Western Conference team. Shannon Sharpe, how do you see this playing out?
He's gone. And I told you when this started happening, Skip Bayless.
You told me?
I told you when they started with Tony Parker talking about, I had a more serious injury than him, and I'm back.
No, he said 100 times worse.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so now you make it even worse.
I'm gonna jump all over it in a second.
Here's the mistake that was made, Skip. Kawhi Leonard and Tim Duncan have very similar personalities. Both are very, very quiet. They don't say much. They're very unassuming. And Coach Popovich thought the way he coached Tim, he could get on, ride Tim. And I'm not saying Kawhi had a problem with him the way he was being coached. Kawhi had a problem when you guys thought he was faking it, that you guys didn't think he was seriously injured. Because when the head coach says, well, our medical staff has cleared him to play, and you have to ask Kawhi's camp and Kawhi's doctor why he isn't playing. And Tony Parker says, my injury, as you so eloquently laid out, was 100 times worse, and I'm back. And then they have a team summit. They bring Kawhi in there, Kawhi looking around like, wow, I mean, my mom here, is it Mother's Day? I mean, somebody I hadn't seen in a long time. Why am I here? Bro, what's going on? Are you going to play? I mean, are you hurt? Kawhi like, whoa, wait a minute. I'm 2-time Defensive Player of the Year. I'm 2-time first All-NBA. I'm Finals MVP. And y'all question me? Tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to remove myself from this situation. I'm not going to even come around anymore. I'm going to go on about my business. I'm going to be training. I'm going to get ready, get healthy in L.A. Let me tell you how disappointed I am in this organization and the players and how you've handled me. I'm willing to forego $31 million to get up out of here. The team that trades a superstar always loses that trade because you're never getting value back. When they traded Kareem, when they traded you go back and check at the history. When you trade a great player, you're not getting that. Kawhi Leonard, before he got injured, was the de facto best two-way player in all of basketball.
Oh, you're admitting that now?
I've
after a whole year you wouldn't admit it?
No.
Oh,
I said
now that you want him on your side?
No. I've always said he's the best two-way player. He's just not the best three. We know where that resides, Skip Bayless. So with that being,
Kevin Durant or?
You got jokes this morning. I guess you was at, you was in Vegas over the weekend. You was at the Laugh Factory or something. You had a stand-up gig.
I did go to the Laugh Factory.
Yeah, you had a stand-up gig.
Did.
Yeah, you had a stand-up gig going on because you're trying to be funny today. Skip Bayless, he's a special type of talent. Before he got injured, he's a top 5 player. He can guard 1 through 4. He can handle the ball. He can initiate offense, and he can shut down most players or make it very, very difficult. You know, when guys like Kevin Durant or LeBron, they get it going. You're at their mercy. You just hope they miss. But he can defend them as well as anybody can if there's such a thing as defense. Skip, he's gone, and we're going to just see how well you guys do moving forward.
And I say good riddance, Kawhi Leonard. I'm saying what I said from the very start at mid-season when I told you, sitting right here, that the most conservative and patient medical staff and training staff in all of sports cleared Kawhi Leonard at midseason to play basketball with a quote-unquote bruised thigh. And Kawhi said, no, I can't play. And the Spurs didn't burn their bridge to Kawhi. He burned his bridge to the Spurs because after a while, they did call a summit. That was with a month left in the season. And they said, starting with Manu Ginobili and Tony Parker, what's up, man? What, are you going to be with us or not? And he hawed around. He didn't say a whole lot, as you know. And to your point about Tim Duncan, yeah, I do think they thought he might become Tim Duncan, but Tim Duncan was made of the rightest stuff, and this guy's made of the wrong stuff.
He's made of the right stuff.
He is made of the wrong stuff, and he revealed his character or lack of basketball character.
The man's
he
hurt,
doesn't have
Skip.
a bruised thigh, and I love Tony Parker for stepping up. He didn't say a lot either publicly, but he said, my injury was 100 times worse because it was. He ruptured his quadriceps muscle, his thigh muscle. He ruptured it, and it's as freakish an accident as I've ever heard any star player suffer. And it was in the playoffs against Memphis a year ago. And if you can go back and find a 35-year-old who ruptured his quad in a basketball game, you're ahead of me, because I don't know one. That's just complete freak accident.
I think Charles Barkley did that.
I don't think he ruptured his thigh, did
I
he?
think it was his quad tender. He ended up coming back
because I've checked the history of it, and I don't know one, but whatever. Maybe he did. But my point is, his was 100 times worse. It tore in two. He lost it, and it's a 6-month rehab. Kawhi Leonard had a bruised thigh. A bruised thigh, and you quit on your team. You know why he quit? Because the expectations of trying to live up to, for the first time ever, preseason MVP predictions. Chris Broussard sat right here in this seat and predicted that Kawhi Leonard, for the first time, would win the MVP this year. Remember that? And Kawhi crumbled under those expectations and under the new expectations for him to become the face of the franchise, the Tim Duncan for the Spurs. He's not that guy. He is a number 2 star. He was great in the shadow of Duncan, Ginobili, and Parker. That's how he sneaked in and won the Finals MVP. But if you make him the guy, if you make him the centerpiece, the focal point, he crumbled under that pressure, and now he wants out to go to the Lakers so he could play in the shadow of one LeBron James and maybe in the shadow of Paul George.
Stop.
Yeah.
Okay, but you had no problem. Now, you heap so much praise on Kawhi when you say before Zaza for cheap shot slid his foot up under his.
Well, they were up 23 at that point.
And who had it
no
going?
No expectations.
And who had it going? Kawhi
all
was
of
cooking.
them had it going.
Kawhi was cooking.
Oh, please.
Well, if all of them had it
They all
going,
were.
why would when Kawhi left, they end up losing by double digits when they had a 20-point lead?
And at that point, everybody said, wait a minute, maybe he is what I'm saying he was. Maybe he's that guy.
He's that guy.
And then when everybody said going into this year, he's that guy, he fell apart and quit on the San Antonio Spurs. He wants no part of that.
Question about appreciation. Skip Bayless, I heard you earlier in the Brady conversation mention when Brady was questioned about the Patriots appreciating him for the quarterback that he's been to the organization, he pled the fifth. Shannon Sharpe, I hear you making an argument about, the value that Kawhi brings to this team.
Right.
Do you think he is being appreciated by the San Antonio? Was he being appreciated by the San Antonio
I don't think
Spurs?
he felt he was being appreciated, Skip, because he said, look at what I've done. I've really given you no indication that I will not play through injury. Skip, he wasn't really supposed to be playing. In Game 6, he ended up sitting out, but he was there for Game 1 of the finals. He could have easily sat out. So he's shown you.
Which one are you talking about?
And when they beat Houston, remember he missed that game
Oh,
when James Harden stunk it up.
Yeah.
But come Game 1, he was back.
Yeah.
And that injury happened earlier, and he still gutted it up to play. Kawhi is saying, I've really shown you no reason for you guys to doubt the severity of my injury. He's saying, Tony Parker, you know why your injury was 100 times worse than mine? Because I'm 100 times better player than you are. So any injury that you get.
He's not saying that.
Yeah, that's what he's saying.
Because he wasn't 100
Yeah,
times better.
yes, he
When
was.
Tony was right, he was the best point guard in basketball. Better than that? Oh.
He never been the best point guard.
Yes, he
Chris
has.
Paul and Chris Paul and Darren Williams said no, he's not.
No, there was times he was uncoverable, unguardable.
But what about Kawhi?
Well,
Sure enough, had it going.
He finally, when the spotlight was brightest, he melted.
He said ain't no sun in San Antonio.
And guess what? Now it's
Like-
interesting that reports have it that the Lakers and the Clippers here in L.A. are starting to say, well, maybe he's injury prone.
No, ain't nobody saying that.
Yes, they are.
I tell you what. Tell R.C. Buford to call Magic Johnson and see how many pieces he can get of that young nucleus and see if Magic thinks that.
To that point, I laughed at the report that Ebony talked about. I think it was the Chris Sheridan report about Coach Popovich would never try. I think Byron Scott said that last week on ESPN. Coach Popovich never trade him with the Lakers. Timeout. Coach Popovich doesn't have final say on trades. R.C. Buford, the best general manager in basketball, and he's shown that over 20 years.
Yes, I'll give him that.
He's that guy.
Yes.
It's his call. And you're right. If the Lakers come with the right package, you don't think he'd take it? Yes, he would.
But here's the thing, Skip, that's this is really in Kawhi's court. Because nobody's going to give up all those centerpieces without a commitment that he's going to assign long term.
Yep.
You'd be a fool to give up, let's just say any centerpiece is going to be centered around Kuzma and Ingram. We know that. Okay, if
What if you get Lonzo, Kuzma, and Ingram? Would you take that? I'd take that for Kawhi. See, that's the kind of deal RC would pull off.
You might get 2 of the 3 in the draft.
Why not 3? You just said you'll never get equal value. I'll take that as equal value. I'll do it.
Oh, if LeBron, if Magic's on the phone with Bron, we got this. Paul, yeah, I get this
Okay,
up. I get it up. I get it up. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, this is
absolutely.
why I'm betting on R.C. Buford far before I'm betting on Kawhi Leonard.
As a matter of fact, I'm packing bags for him.
Are you?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll take those 3 kids right now, and we'll go forward and see what happens.
And we'll beat the brakes off.
You might for a year.
No, for
you
at
might
least
for
3
a year.
At least 3 years.
I don't know.
At least 3.
Skip, do you think an organization is fair if they question Kawhi about his dedication and commitment?
Yes,
to the team?
absolutely, because he's been injury-prone his whole career there with dubious injuries, like minor injuries, and they would let him sit for 19 games. After a while, enough is enough. He made $19 million last year for doing virtually nothing. I think that was a pretty good year for Kawhi.
I know a guy that cost himself $180 million by trying to be tough and play through an injury. One little Isaiah Thomas. Ask him if he had it to do over again. And the Boston Celtics was saying how hero worship he was. And they showed him on the video monitor.
They did.
And guess what happened? He'll never see that payday again. Kawhi Leonard saying, hey, I might not get 219, but I'm going to get 180.
Okay, well, good luck next year to you and your Lakers.
Yeah,
That's how it's going to be.
We don't need no Lakers.
LeBron and Kawhi, and LeBron's going to be saying, Kawhi, what's wrong? You hurt again?
Guess what?
You can't play again?
Hold on. He's played with Kevin Love and he's played with Dwayne Wade. Both of those guys have suffered a lot of injuries in the process of playing with him. So LeBron knows what it's like to go it alone.
Well, he may be going alone next year.
No, he ain't.
Word on the street, though. The Cowboys are looking to surprise some people in the NFL next season. We'll debate it. That's up next.
Surprise.
No mercy.
All right, today it's another great day of World Cup coverage here on FS1. Guys, it's been a really great tournament so far, right?
So far.
So far, so good.
Shocking upset yesterday, Mexico over Germany, 1-0. But to me, it wasn't that shocking because Mexico has routinely underachieved in this tournament. And I think Germany was there for the taking, ripe for the taking. I'm not counting out Germany from this point on, but I am looking at Mexico as the team on the rise in this tournament.
Skip. Iceland tying Argentina.
Well,
Lionel Messi is on Argentina. And he got blocked in the PK again.
He did.
They might need to start thinking, I understand he's great, but sometimes, Skip, the greatest player don't shoot the free throw in the technical foul. So you might want to think about letting someone else take that PK instead of Messi. And also, Brazil being tied by Switzerland. Skip, they're known for watches and chocolate. You can't tie that behemoth, Brazil. Brazil, you can't let that happen.
So let Kyle Korver shoot the free throw, not LeBron.
No, see, there you go. See, you always.
All right, guys, we're going to get back to the NFL now. The Cowboys, they missed the playoffs entirely last season. Listen, they lost 2 of Dak Prescott's targets in Des Bryant and Jason Witten. But Dak, he's still feeling good about things. He says that the new guys can really be some playmakers and that they're going to, quote, be out to surprise a lot of people. Shannon, do you like Dak Prescott saying that he plans to surprise the league? No.
No, absolutely not. Skip, you're worth the most. You're the most visible franchise in all the world. Can you imagine, since we were just talking about soccer, football as it's known across the world, can you imagine Cristiano Ronaldo say, you know what, Real Madrid, we're going to surprise some people this year? Well, how would that go? Aaron Judge for the Yankees, we're going to surprise some people this year. Skip Bayless? How would that go over? You're playing for the Dallas Cowboys. Everybody loves the Cowboys, Skip. And Dak Prescott talking about, we're going to surprise some people. Really? No, Cleveland should say that. The Miami Dolphins should say that.
The Denver Broncos should say that.
No, don't do that, Skip Bayless. Don't do that. See, there you go. You ruined a good conversation. Skip, you can't say this. You're the quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys. And you're talking about we're going to surprise some people. A franchise that's worth over $5 billion. More people recognize the star in the silver and blue than Real Madrid, FC Barcelona, PSG, the Yankees. And you got your starting quarterback saying, we're going to surprise some people. How that going on? How you like that, Skip Bayless?
I can't defend it. All I can say is what a difference a year makes, because 1 year ago today, nobody was talking about the Cowboys surprising anybody. They were talking about the Cowboys winning the Super Bowl,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And then this happened. The worst Cowboy offseason I can ever remember in all my years as a Dallas Cowboy fan, going back to the 60s. Because they had the most blah draft I can remember.
Yeah.
They were all too quiet in free agency. As you remember, they missed out on Sammy Watkins. I guess they were in that derby, but that's what the report was. But does Jerry ever miss when he decides he wants somebody?
No.
Nope. And he missed on Sammy Watkins. And we've had player after player in trouble. Terrence Williams, bizarre incident with the crash car and the electric bike. I don't know what it was. And now David Irving is suspended again for 4 games to start the season. The potential monster who is David Irving.
Isn't that 5 consecutive years they've had a defensive starter to start the season on a suspension list here?
It is. Yet, of all the non-moves that happened, one move did happen. And I told you from the start, as in the end of the regular season, one thing had to happen for the Cowboys to have a chance next year. And that did happen. Jerry Jones cut bait with Dez Bryant. And I still can't believe he did.
Yeah.
But he did. And by the way, Dez is still unsigned as we speak. I think that's not a ringing endorsement of Dez's skills at this age, right?
Yeah.
So they did that. And they still have Dak and Zeke. I question their maturity levels, maybe, right?
I mean, okay, Skip. He brought a water gun that was a symbol of something else.
Yeah, symbol of
They
something
went to
else.
the party. I mean, what's wrong with? I mean, he's shooting a bunch of commercials. The sponsors, they love him.
I still love him, and they still have Dak Prescott, who is at least Brady-esque. I'm not saying he's Tom Brady, but he is Brady-esque. And he did have, he had the 3rd best QBR 2 years ago and the 4th best last year, so he plummeted all the way to 4th. And Zeke will be on a mission to get even with the league, just the way Tom Brady was on a mission after his 4-game suspension, you remember, after Deflategate.
If you don't mind me asking, Skip Bayless, in his 2nd year, Tom Brady led the Patriots to a Super Bowl. If I had to say, okay, who has more talent? The Dallas Cowboys in year 2, year 3, or the Patriots? Tom Brady's 2nd year.
More talent overall?
Overall.
Well, you told me that he had one of the greatest coaches ever, and I got Jason Garrett, right? Maybe you said he does have the greatest coach ever,
hold on.
right?
Hold on.
I'm using your argument against you.
I've been trying to tell you that for the longest time. LeBron James has yet to play for a Hall of Fame coach, but that's none of our business, Ebony.
Wait,
I'm just asking you
just
about
a
this.
second. In year 2, did Tom Brady's running back get suspended for 4 games?
No.
6 games, I mean? 6
No.
games.
Antoine Smith. I mean, you had him.
Interesting.
This is what's going to be surprising, will be surprise to no one. Ezekiel Elliott will be carrying the football an awful lot. When Ezekiel Elliott is in the lineup, no team runs the football more than said Dallas Cowboys.
Okay.
So I don't know what you think about that, but I'm telling you what the offensive coordinator and the head coach thinks of it.
So who potentially will have the best offensive line in football next year? Maybe the Dallas Cowboys.
Y'all potentially had it last year. What happened?
Okay. Well, there were some injuries to the left tackle, who's simply the best run blocker in all of football.
He can make a case he's the best tackle in football.
Yeah, okay. So he was gone for 4 crucial games without Zeke.
You said his back holds up all year?
Okay. I don't know, but what if it does? And they added Cameron Fleming from Tom Brady, his right tackle, who played some left tackle. So you have a quality backup, if not a better right tackle. Lyle Collins moves to left guard. Uh-oh, Shannon, you in trouble?
What have we seen from Ty Smith over the last couple of years?
Dominance.
An injury that keeps him out of a game. Now all of a sudden it's keeping him out 2 games. Now it's 4 games.
Yep.
Now it's 6. I mean, I don't know, Skip. I'm not an orthopedic. But I can tell you what, backs don't get better with age. I do know that.
I think he's only 27 as we speak, so
Yeah,
he's
let
just
him-
entering his prime.
Let him start going into that back. Let me know how that work out for him.
What if it does work out?
I hope it does. Skip.
Yeah, you hope it doesn't,
I hope
because
it
you're gonna
does.
be in trouble.
But I'm just trying to figure out why would a quarterback on the Dallas Cowboys, the most recognizable sports franchise, not just in North America, we're talking about the world. As big as Real Madrid and FC Barcelona or Man United, as big as all of those are, the Yankees.
Yeah.
PSG, that's another one. Neymar play on that team. People don't think I'd be knowing about
What are the Cowboys' odds to win the Super Bowl? I think they're down to like 18-1. So that would require shocking the world, right?
But no, Skip, when you're on that, you don't say surprised.
Yeah.
See, Kobe Bryant could never say, well, we're going to surprise some people. You're the Lakers. You can't be surprised at anything when you see all those gold Larry O'Brien awards and all those banners and all those statues out front.
Yep.
You can't be surprised by anything. You walk in the Cowboys Stadium, you got 5 rings, and you see all the Hall of Famers, from Randy White to Emmett and Michael Irvin and Leroy Jordan and all those guys. You can't be, you're the Dallas Cowboys.
And by the way, you did mention Ernestine and I were in Vegas the last couple of days. So we were just kind of cruising around, walking through the casino. We walked through the sports book at the Wynn, and I looked up, and the Cowboys were 18-1. And I turned to her and said, I think I might put a couple bucks on that. I'm not a gambling man. And at the last second, I pulled out my wallet, and I thought, no, I don't want to jinx them. Because I like the 18-1. I like
you don't
it.
want to give your money away.
No, I
that
don't.
just you might as well just walk up down the street and somebody
Jinx.
panhandling,
I'm not gonna
and
jinx.
it's like, excuse me, can you spare a couple of dollars? You came out better just giving it to him, because that would have been for a great cause. That would have been your good deed for the day. But you giving your money to the Win so they can build another Win, because you know if you put your money on the Cowboys, that's money gone.
Win at the Win.
Shannon, you've been a little hard on Dak for the actual comment, because I appreciate your point. They are America's team. It's the Dallas Cowboys. There's no sports franchise in the world more recognizable. But the facts are that they missed the playoffs last year. The facts are they don't have good odds. Skip talked about the kind of lackluster offseason. So maybe Dak's trying to raise morale. Maybe he's trying to give his teammates something to feel good about. No?
The Cowboys.
What do you want him to say? We got no shot?
I want to say we gonna wreck shop.
Oh, yeah?
We wrecking. Yeah, we about to hit like an 8.0 on the Richter scale. We wrecking the NFL.
You need to take Wednesday off, because my man Dak is coming on this show, and you do not need to be here. You will muck up that interview.
Whoa, Skip, I just want to sit back and talk to old Dak. Man, Dak cool.
Yeah, I don't think you're very cool.
We
right
cool,
now.
Skip.
Yeah, because you were on some flight with him.
No,
Tried to kiss up to him on the flight. No, won't work.
Rookie of the year, Skip. We took pictures outside the Cowboy bus.
Yeah.
Me and Dak go back like Cossey.
Yeah.
Yeah, we go way back.
Over in the NBA, is Kawhi Leonard on his way to L.A.? We're going to discuss that up next with our own Chris Broussard. Stay with us.
Beautiful out here, Kawhi.
No mercy.
ESPN reports Kawhi Leonard wants out of San Antonio, and he'd like to go to Los Angeles, preferably with the Lakers. Now, Kawhi is reportedly frustrated with the Spurs organization, and he could opt out of his contract and become a free agent next summer. Chris Sheridan reports that there's a 0% chance that Greg Popovich would trade Kawhi to the Lakers or any other team in the West. All right, we're joined now by FS1's NBA analyst, Chris Broussard. Chris, we talked about it, but I want to know what you think. How does this play out?
Well, I would tend to agree with Chris Sheridan that I'm sure trading Kawhi to the Lakers is the Spurs' last resort. Remember how upset Greg Popovich was with Memphis when they traded Pau Gasol to the Lakers? So, look, why in the world would the Spurs give Kawhi, number one, what he wants? When he wants out, why in the world would you give him what he wants? Number two, why would you strengthen a conference rival? And so I think that they'll look to the East. The Spurs have some leverage. Kawhi obviously has got leverage because he can tell any team, I'm not staying long term.
Hey, that's all. He's going to nip any deal.
But they have some leverage too, because I was talking to an executive yesterday from a Western Conference team that said, if I'm the Spurs, I wouldn't trade him. You still have through February, right, to the deadline to at least, if you want to try to play it out and try to make amends. Look, I doubt he can sit out again, okay? So you try to make amends. If that doesn't work, if you do that, guess what? What if the Lakers go out and sign LeBron and Paul George? Now they no longer have the cap room to go out and get Kawhi. So he can't say anymore, I'll just walk to the Lakers as a free agent. Then you can trade him wherever you want because he can't stay with L.A. So, look, here's the thing, too, with Kawhi. If I'm him, I get wanting to be in L.A., wanting to be at home. You're from here. But, man, I think Boston and Philly are both better options. And I know that his uncle, who's advising him, Dennis Robertson, is close with Kyrie's dad. And look, I don't know. I have no idea how Kawhi feels about playing with LeBron. But I know that his uncle has heard whatever horror stories Kyrie had that led him to want out of Cleveland. Denny Robertson has heard him. Now, I don't know how that affects Kawhi or even Dennis, whether he would want him to play with LeBron. But I know he's heard those stories. And if Kawhi and Kyrie are tight, and I don't know that they are or not, why in the world wouldn't you stay in Boston and build something there where you're in the East, you be the favorites, even with Philadelphia, you be the favorites for the next several years. You got a great organization. I think he needs to look there, or Philly too. If he went to Philly, he'd be the veteran they need. He'd be the first or second scoring option, and he could be viewed as the guy that gets them over the top. So, but look, obviously you're looking at LeBron, Kawhi, and Paul George if this works out for the Lakers. But I just don't know why the Spurs would play ball with that.
I know why.
Yeah.
Because, first of all, this is what we know, Chris. You covered this game long enough. The team that trades the superstar normally loses the trade. Because it's hard to get back equal value
Except
for
for
him.
Cleveland.
They definitely lost that trade. But here's the thing. If you got those pieces, say Ingram and Kuzma, or Ingram and Lonzo.
Well, you definitely don't see Lonzo going there, right?
Well, I don't see.
I can't see LeVar and Pop or R.C. Buford. I can't see them.
I don't see how Lonzo stays with the Lakers if they get Kawhi, LeBron, and Paul George. There's really no need for him because you have two guys. Really, you have three guys that can initiate offense.
Yeah.
And Lonzo is not a spot-up shooter. So what use will he be to them? So with that being said, yeah, sure, he could go. But I think LeBron James is on the phone right now with Kawhi. So what you thinking, bro? Because what we can do, we can put this thing together. Because in everybody's mind,
LeBron better do a lot of talking because he's not going to hear much back.
Kawhi.
He doesn't say anything.
Look here, let me tell you something, Skip Bayless. When LeBron James picks up the phone and call, you take that call. There are very few people in the world that you can say, I'm busy.
What if his hand is hurt?
No, ain't nothing wrong with his hand. Ain't nothing wrong with his hand.
Man, how you? Oh, this used to be your guy.
Skip, here's the thing.
I'm out.
This is what everybody should be thinking. How do we take down that team from the Bay? I'm not worried about no Eastern Conference.
Sure.
I'm not worried about no Western Conference. I'm worried about how do we beat that Big Four. And this is a big start. Because I tell you what, if those three guys link up in L.A., we're on a collision course. And I don't just like my chances, I love my chances with the Lakers.
I would love them more if you got Kevin Durant to come to L.A. with LeBron and weaken the Golden State Warriors while strengthening the Lakers.
We want them strong.
That would really
We want them strong.
Would you like Kevin Durant and LeBron in L.A. better than those three in L.A.? LeBron, Kyrie, or Kawhi, and Paul George?
Yes, because I don't trust the two complementary stars in the biggest moments. I don't trust
Kawhi ain't no complimentary star. Stop saying that.
He's not
a
number
superstar.
one. He is not a superstar, and you know it, and I know
He's
it.
a superstar. You got to admit. Whether he doesn't
have a
superstar
backbone, like basketball backbone. He got exposed this year.
But do you think that's...
You know what? I've used you. You were one of the first to say he is going to win the MVP. Yeah. You predicted that. He crumbled under those expectations. He crumbled for the first time under the expectation of, you need to become Tim Duncan, not in ability or performance, just in stature. You need to take this franchise over. And he crumbled. He had a bruised thigh, and he played 9 games with it. Are you kidding me? He quit on that team.
But you said that team, Skip. My question is only this. Do you think some of that lack of backbone that you are pointing out here is specific to the Spurs organization? Does that automatically transfer if he's in an L.A. or another market?
Well, obviously, his dream job would be to play in LeBron's shadow with the Lakers.
Stop saying that.
I'm not just telling you. Okay, and by the way, I got to say this too. We can bring up the Chris Sheridan report, and Chris been covering this league for a long time, as you know. But stop it. In the end, R.C. Buford runs the San Antonio Spurs, not the head coach. The head coach does not have final say over personnel moves. The GM does, and he is simply, over time, proven to be the best GM in basketball. I trust R.C. Buford a lot more than I trust Kawhi Leonard, so I'm going to bet on R.C. in this whole notion, the old bromide about you never get back equal value for a superstar. Well, you better be careful with this guy. He just might, and I've already thrown this out. If the Lakers want to give the Spurs Lonzo and Kuzma and Brandon Ingram, I'm good to go.
They would.
Do that.
I'm sure they
would. Do it. I'm good.
You think the Spurs would want, forget Lonzo, LeVar?
I think
Can you
I think
imagine
Greg
the-
Popovich would want Lonzo, though. He would love Lonzo.
I think he'd like Lonzo. I just think I cannot see LeVar Ball in San Antonio. And I'll say this, Skip,
I think
about
LeVar
RC.
can't see LeVar in San Antonio, right?
That's true, too. You're right, RC. And look, I think R.C. Buford and the Spurs front office overplayed their hand. Because I've talked to people around this situation. A week ago, Kawhi's camp, they were ready to meet with Greg Popovich. And the whole thing was going to be about what they wanted to hear was why, when we met with you and the Spurs, everything was good. We're meeting, you're on board, we're going to New York, you're sending trainers with us to New York. We're saying, let's not play this out in the media, let's not talk. And then a week or two later, I see stories with anonymous sources saying there's tension between Kawhi and the organization. Kawhi began feeling like the Spurs are two-faced. And then a couple days ago, a few days ago, the story comes out that Kawhi's going to have to convince the Spurs that he's worth the Supermax when they meet. So now he's like, this
Broussard,
is one more thing.
A month
That's
ago,
why he cut the meeting.
Okay, a month ago, if I'd asked you the most respected organization in all of pro basketball, you would have said the Spurs.
Yes, and it's the same as the Patriots. We've seen leaks coming. Like, now, both organizations, you see things breaking down. You're right. I would have said the Spurs. And I have respect for RC and obviously Pop and those guys. But in this situation, historically, there are certain types of guys that just have not been Spurs guys.
You got it.
Duncan and Robinson, David Robinson, were unique.
They were.
And there were other guys there.
Ginobili's unique in his basketball character.
And Tony Parker, they're foreigners, from Europe and Argentina. That's a different, vibe than a lot of American black kids.
I'm going to remind you one more time. At mid-season, the most conservative and patient medical staff in all of sports cleared Kawhi Leonard to play full-speed, full-time basketball with a bruised quad. And he said, no, I can't. And then he went to New York to meet with a surgeon and a physical therapist who are close friends of mine, so I know what was going on. And I just got to tell you, the Spurs sat back and said, seriously? And then they had that big summit meeting with the players. That was about a month after that, with a month to go in the season. And Tony Parker spoke out and said, my injury is 100 times worse than his because he had a ruptured quadriceps. And you were right about Charles Barkley. In his last year in Houston, he did rupture. But that's the only other one I've ever heard of. It's a freakish injury for like a middle-aged sort of star. So the point
Especially guys that's not explosive. Normally that happens with guys that are very explosive.
It's just freakish. It's almost like an Achilles tear where you can't even explain why it happened. But the point is, Kawhi Leonard had a bruise, and the medical people there are saying, wait a minute, you just collected $19 million from us, and now you're in line to get $219 million as a supermax if you want to stay home as our franchise player. And they're saying, we can't trust you enough to bet $219 million. I wouldn't do it.
And he's saying, you know what? I don't care. I'll take $31 million less.
He's going to have to.
See, Kevin Durant and LeBron James can do that because they're making $40, $50 million off the court. Kawhi Leonard is not making that kind of money off the court. So for him to say, you know what? Forget it. I'm up out of here. Because, Tony, first of all, Skip, Kawhi Leonard is very respected, too. He doesn't say a whole lot, but you can look at his personality and tell he'll just bottle it in. And when he blows, he's blowing up out of town. See, you can't coach him. And I know his personality reminds you of Tim Duncan. Quiet, very stoic. They're not rah-rah. But Coach Skip, think about it. Coach Belichick coaches Tom Brady the exact same way he coaches everybody else.
Yeah.
Pop thought he could coach everybody the same way. Well, Kawhi's a different kind of cat, Skip. The guy got the same car, Chevrolet Blazer or whatever kind of truck it is, for 15 years. He ain't bought anything new. The dude still got cornrows from the 90s. So you could tell he's a different type of cat. So what may sway somebody one way is not going to move him in the other. So, Skip, you had to be mindful of how you handle him. So he looks at them and say, you guys think I'm faking. You guys think I'm lying.
Yeah, but remember, Tim Duncan was the rock.
Oh,
of this
yeah.
franchise.
He was
Kawhi's
special.
a pebble. That's what he is.
Start to do this, Skip.
No, he's a pebble that's going to be haunting y'all.
All right. I let him haunt.
Skip, but also, we got to stop because the doctors say this. Look, there have been things that sometimes baffle some of the greatest doctors. Because I go to MD Anderson and,
Sure.
See? I go to the Mayo Clinic or I go to MD Anderson in Houston.
Yep.
Where they can't, with Mr. Sharpe, you okay? Nah, something wrong with me. I know me. This is not your body. I know what you're telling me. I know what you went to school to train and study for, but I'm not right. Kawhi says, I understand, guys, what you're saying, but I'm not right.
So the Lakers better be careful.
No,
He
Lakers,
might
don't
not
be
be
careful.
right next
Plunge,
year.
plunge, Lakers.
You don't mind if he goes to the Lakers?
Not at all, especially if I get those 3 back.
Oh, you can have him.
Have
You can
him?
have him. You can have him.
Have
him.
Do it.
Bye.
Do it.
Bye.
Thank you. Give me
Bro,
a couple of years and we'll be right there with you.
Hey, give me a couple of years. We're going to have a couple titles. O'Brien going to go to 10 straight finals in a row. Win them.
Wow.
He's going to beat the Golden State Warriors with Kawhi Leonard and George Paul.
Got him.
Paul George.
Got him. Got him. I'm going to put some money on that. I'm going to
I'm
Vegas
gonna
put some
put a
money
whole
on that.
bunch of money on
You take Golden
Right back
State.
to the win. There you go. There you go, Skip.
No mercy. Thanks for listening to the Undisputed Podcast. I'm Joy Taylor. We're back again tomorrow morning at 9:30 Eastern. We'll see you then.
Fox Sports 1 of 1.